So by now, most of you have probably seen the video that is circulating around the web, or you've probably seen the apologies, or you've seen Shannon Sharp go on his speech.
Now I don't know if I don't know what Drew's going to do, but he probably should just go ahead and retire now. It will never be the same. Take it from a guy that's been a leader in a locker room for a number of years. At every step, Skip, I've been the leader in the locker room. What he said, they go like, oh yeah, no, they will never look at him the same.
On what occurred in this video or what was said in this video. So I thought this would be, to me, the not logical next step in our chapters of discussion of what we're seeing in the world. And I think this one's really interesting to examine because at the end of the day, after what I've seen, including in this video, and then just based off my brief research into Drew Brees, I don't feel like what was said is an accurate representation of the man who said it, which I'll try my best to explain my viewpoint here. Drew Brees, right? Excluding the time with San Diego, has been with the New Orleans Saints, and I hope I'm correct here, with the New Orleans Saints since 2006, 2007. So he's been with this organization for 16 odd years. When I look at the New Orleans Saints roster, over half, or at least half, or close to half, of his teammates, of 52 players, 11 men on the field, are black. Drew Brees grew up in Dallas, Texas, where at one time, and or it still may be current, their population was, I think, third in the nation for the most African Americans in a city. Now, I'm not saying that just because he grew up in a city where there were African Americans that he was around African Americans, because there's a hood, there's the suburbs, there's a division of people where people can grow up. What I'm saying is, during his time growing up, he played football. There's a good chance he was around a lot of black people while playing football. You're talking about a sport that is dominated by black people. Went to college, went to the NFL, and at no time have I seen or read about him being associated with a racist remark or comment or anything that could even be construed as negative because of a race, unlike some other quarterbacks or people that we've seen in the league. Brees is operating in a city where the majority of the population is black. He has a foundation that was huge in helping with current Hurricane Katrina and rebuilding academic institutions, after school care, and just helping out with the community. All of these things to me speak to a man that is not racist, to a man that is not blinded by hatred because of a color. I really think that if he were, things like that would have came out and we wouldn't see people coming out, his teammates coming out and saying things like, "I'm hurt by what you're saying." I don't see that happening. What I do think occurred here was that a man was caught off guard by a question. Even though it doesn't seem like it, it's hard for me to imagine that Breeze knew that this question was coming. And then if he did know it, that would be his response to that question. Or you know what? Let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. Because I believe the response he gave was an honest response. I believe, like, just like right now when you're watching my video and you're seeing me stumble over words, or I'm having to go back and trying to clarify things, that's what happens when you're speaking from the mind, because you think things through, and sometimes your mouth doesn't work the same time as your brain, so you pause. That's reality. It's life. It's not like television where people are quick-witted, they're witty, everything flows right, there's proper grammar. We fuck up when we talk. Sometimes we say things that we don't even mean in the moment, or we go back and we're like, you know what, it's not really what I was trying to say. That ain't come out right. And I think that's what happened with Mr. Breeze. He was caught off guard by a question, and like I haven't seen the beginning of this video, or I haven't seen the ending of this video. So I don't know what came before, and I don't know what came at the end, but I can't expect that the whole time the video was about the protest. So when the question came, it kind of does trap you in this corner of, how do I proceed next? And it seems like His response was, I'm going to tell the truth about how I honestly feel about this moment. And there was problems with how he honestly felt, but we'll get into that. But I do believe it was the truth. I don't think it was a racist truth, but I do believe it was his truth. It throws me for a loop, though, that even if this were his truth, and this is him reacting to the moment, as we mentioned before, he's been in the league for what, 16 years? Media training, as we all know, is a part of college and professional athletes' curriculum. You have to go through media training. You have to know how to talk to the press. You have to know that what I say influences not only me, but my organization. So I'm no longer speaking for just myself. I have to be able to know when when a reporter is trying to trap me into a corner or trying to get a headline out of me, or I got to make sure that the words I use aren't taken and misconstrued and thrown into something that I never said. And if we know that, and if we know Brees has been in the NFL for 16 years, been playing college football before that, it mind boggles me that that's the response he chose even after his training. Like, that's still where he landed on the issue. Because regardless of how you feel about what Kaepernick did, I can't see somebody media training backing up or proving what you said. I can't see somebody going like, you should definitely run with that. Especially right now when you have every state in the US protesting. Every state is protesting. And then you have something like 18 countries protesting alongside them. This is a huge movement right now. And now is when you want to say something negative about that movement. This is the moment where you think it's appropriate to voice your discontent with what somebody did in the NFL in 2016. That blows my mind. And that's how I also know that that was a true moment, because you would only say that if that was the truth. You would not say that in this time, in this moment right now, unless you really believed in what the hell you were saying. The first thing I want to start with when I see this video is right off the bat what the interviewer says.
Everyone is looking back now at Kaepernick's protests from a few years ago, and obviously they were always about police brutality.
Right there. Just take it from right there. Everybody's looking back right now and acknowledging that they were never about police brutality. Kaepernick's protest was never about... Kaepernick's protest was never about the flag. It was always about police brutality. He's giving you the answer to the test. It can come no clearer. His protest was about police brutality. More than that, to me, it wasn't just about police brutality, but racism in general and how it's ingrained in our system in all aspects of our lives. But he's giving you a prime answer right here, is that it's police brutality is what Kaepernick is protesting against. And then he asks him follow-up questions. And I don't want to play the whole video because I'm sure so many of you seen the video, but...
And now it's coming back to the fore, and a lot of people expect that we will see players kneeling again even when the NFL season starts. I'm curious how you think the NFL will and should respond to that.
Question 1, how do you feel the NFL will and should respond to the fact that protests may continue on the field if and when the NFL starts back up? Question 1.
And of course, you're such a leader in the league. What is your responsibility as a leader in times like this for the rest?
In times like this, as a leader, as the quarterback of your team, what is your response? What is it that you should or could do to instill in your men that things are going to be okay? And even if they're not okay, I'm on your side. I've got your back. That's it. Those are the questions that are asked. And this is what blows my mind.
Your teammates and players in the league.
Well, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States.
The fuck does that have to do with anything? That just right off rip. Question 1. The NFL, how should they respond to the possibility of protest occurring again on the field? Question 2, you as a leader, how could you or should you set an example in your men, the people you play with, that everything's going to be all right, or that I'm on your side. And your response is, first and foremost, I will not agree with anybody that decides to kneel during the national anthem or disrespect the flag. Nobody asked that. That's again going back to the issue with why so many people are mad at the response Kaepernick got. Nobody's disrespecting the nation or the flag. It's not about the damn flag, and it's not about the nation. He's on a platform, arguably one of the biggest platforms you can have in the National Football League. He's under strict rules and guidance as to how he can conduct himself, what he can say, and when he can say it. He exercises his right, a very simple right, to kneel during the playing of a song. Our national anthem, but a song. He kneels. Doesn't assault anybody. Doesn't call anyone out by name. Doesn't disrespect the organization or the he just kneels. He kneels because it is a sign that it is a sign that the country he plays in, the country that he probably loves, is not loving him back, and it's not loving people that look like him back. That's it. He is kneeling against racism. He is kneeling against excessive use of force by the police against communities of color. He's kneeling against the idea that we are all the same human race, and yet one race, because of its skin color, can seem to go further, do better, and not have to worry about the same things that another human person has to worry about because his skin is a different shade. That's it. Nowhere in there is it about the damn flag or the national anthem. I'm sure he loves his country because, like me and so many other people, we recognize the opportunities and the benefits that we are blessed with by living in this country, because there are many. There are many. Make no mistake about it. Nobody should go around saying that America is the worst place we could live because we're black, because that's not true. Now, right now, it seems like it's up there for damn sure. And you know what? It's been like that for a long time. Slavery, segregation, murder. It's pretty damn up there. But there are economic freedoms and things like we can do that we could not do in other countries. Me being able to speak my mind right now freely without worry of some man in suits or some people in uniform busting in my door and throwing me away without right to due process or speaking into court or whatever. I'm allowed to speak my mind right now without certain fears to an extent. But that's a whole different argument. The point is, I'm sure Kaepernick loves the country that he's grown up in, which is why it's also so damn stupid when people say, go back to your country. First of all, this is his country. Or when they say, well, if he doesn't like it, why doesn't he go back to his country? As I just said, it is his country, but also, if this is the only thing that he's known, this is where he grew up, why the fuck would he move somewhere else? Why would the argument be, well, he can just go back to Africa or wherever else? He didn't grow up there. It's not where his home is. It's not where his people are. It's not where his family's at. He should be able to afford, he should be able to enjoy the luxuries blessed upon him for his hard work and his success making it to the NFL, and also be able to speak against the injustices that are within our country right now. He should be able to do that without another person of a different shade of color on a different team being asked different questions, coming back and saying, well, I don't agree with what he did. In fact, I don't agree with anybody who does that. Is it not a peaceful protest? How does it affect you? Please tell me how it affects you. Because later on, he does bring up, I guess, a reason for why he feels the way he feels and why he feels that nobody should kneel. And there has been an outpouring of responses to what he says there.
I'm going to just get straight to it. I see Drew Brees trying to do his part in keeping black folk down. You're a straight sucker for that, Drew Brees. We all got kids, so I'm going to try to mind what I say right now. Drew Brees, you're a straight sucker, man. You're a sucker for that, bro. Why you think all these young people out here protesting? Why you think they're out here protesting? The looting, I can see you speaking on the looting and saying that's bad, you don't support that. But why you think all these young people are out here protesting?
To know what he considers disrespect, because when I travel and we perform in Germany, I never see a Nazi flag. I don't see streets named for Nazis, because Nazis are a part of history that Germany understands was a cancer and corrupt, and they've ridded themselves of. Drew Brees plays in the Deep South. As we travel through the South, we see the Confederate flag everywhere that bounds. That is a treacherous flag. It was a flag that if you read the cornerstone speech by Alexander Stevenson, he says in the cornerstone speech of the Confederacy that our Constitution is built on the natural order that white society and white man is above black people and they are to be held in servitude and bondage. So if you're going to tell me about flag and disrespecting the American flag, the fact that you live in a region that they still fly the rebel flag or the Confederate flag, and you don't adamantly speak against that on a regular basis, just tells me that you're protecting the way of life or what you think is right.
Selfish, period. I'm not here to defend Drew Brees. What Drew Brees said was simply callous and selfish. And why do I say that? Because in his comments, when he talks about what the flag means to him and what he sees when he stands up and honors the flag, that's cool. That's fine. But that's not what we're talking about right now, Drew. We're talking about the injustices. Tell me what you see and what you saw when you watched the George Floyd murder. Tell me what you saw then. Tell me, did you see your grandfather fighting for that man?
But it just blows my mind when you're given questions and the answer in the beginning when the interviewer says it was never about the flag, that you go back to, I'll never respect or I'll never accept anybody who disrespects the flag by kneeling.
National anthem is played, and when I look at the flag of the United States, I envision my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine Corps, both risking their lives to protect our country and to try to make our country and this world a better place.
There you go. There's the reason, right? Because when he sees the flags, he sees his grandparents who fought for this country to try and make it a better place. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with wanting to honor your family's legacy. There is something wrong with this idea of just because your family fought in the military, fought in the World War, means that everybody in America has to respect a symbol of something that did not always represent the freedoms that we were afforded at that time. What I'm saying is, his grandparents may have fought in the war. So did so many other black people's families, grandparents. His grandparents got to come home and enjoy the freedoms that they fought for. Somebody of my color, or of another minority background's family who came back from the war, still had to come home to being called a nigga. Still had to worry about using the back entrance. Had to worry about whether they could sit in the front of the bus without getting side-eyed or getting the cops called on them. Or hell, let's make it modern, about going to a park to have a cookout and then getting called, having the police called on you for said cookout, with the threat an African American man is the precursor right there in the call, because the person who called knew that if they told the cops that it was a black man, let me even erase the African American part. It's not even about the African American part. When they say a black man is doing something wrong, it doesn't matter what comes after the black man part. The cops are coming, and they're coming ready to do damage. Your grandparents fought for freedoms that weren't enjoyed by all. So why would that automatically translate to everybody swearing the same allegiance to the flag. Which is, I'm not saying, again, it's not about the flag. So it's not like he's saying that he's not swearing allegiance to the flag. But what I am saying is that flag that you're swearing allegiance to has not always represented equality for everybody. It has not represented a free world for everybody within its confines. Not until fucking recently, for that matter. And that freedom is still limited to some. And yet many of us who are experiencing that limitation do swear our allegiance to the flag. But we want things to be better. Kaepernick wanted things to be better. And that's what he wanted you to focus on. That's what your answer should have been about. Why is it that when you're denouncing the movement, the protest, the peaceful protest of another man, you're not also commenting on why that man is protesting? Why is it you're just focused on the surface level? You can't get past seeing somebody kneel to look at why he's kneeling? The only thing you can see is the possible disrespect that you have assumed in your head towards your grandparents? Again, I don't think Mr. Brees is racist. I don't feel his background does not show he's a racist man, but this is a mistake, and I do believe he is speaking the truth, his truth. And his truth seems to suggest he never saw the problem. Either that or he doesn't want to see the problem, whichever. I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't. In fact, many of us don't know him personally. But this seems to scream, I don't care or I don't want to know about the problems going on with you and police, with you and racism. What I do care about is whether or not you're going to stand up for this flag and this national anthem. And that's a problem. And I think that's why so many people are mad and responding in disdain and angerment towards him. You got people calling for his retirement now because of these comments, because they're upset that at this time, as I mentioned before, at this time when there's so many people standing up for the injustice, recognizing that, yeah, there is something wrong. You just saw the kid from Disney Channel, one of the Sprouse brothers from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I don't remember his name, and I apologize for that. You just saw that man get arrested. He was out there with the protesters, walking, and got arrested. Because he's recognizing that there's an actual problem, and you're still focused on kneeling and the disrespect that comes with it. Now, I'm saying all this, but I also realize that because of this backlash, because of the outcry, the anger that has come towards him, he has issued an apology.
I know there's not much that I can say that would make things any better right now, but I just want you to see in my eyes how sorry I am for the comments that I made yesterday. I know that it hurt many people, especially friends, teammates, former teammates, loved ones, people that I care and respect deeply. That was never my intention. I wish I would have laid out what was on my heart in regards to the George Floyd murder, Ahmaud Arbery, the years and years of social injustice, police brutality, and the need for so much reform and change in regards to legislation and so many other things to bring equality to our black communities. I am sorry, and I will do better, and I will be part of the solution, and I am your ally.
And I've read the apology. And because I believe, in my own opinion, Mr. Brees is not a racist man, I believe his apology is sincere. But I can see the argument where somebody looks at it and says, who wrote that for you? What are you really saying you're sorry for? Are you sorry because you said the wrong thing at the wrong time? Are you sorry because there's such a huge backlash against you for your comments? Are you sorry because people are asking for you to hang up your jersey now? Or are you sorry because you genuinely understand that you misunderstood, one, the questions, but two, what Kaepernick was actually protesting? What the kneeling was actually about? And that nobody can answer that except for him and maybe the people closest to him. because we don't know him. We don't know his character. All we can see are words on a screen. And it's really, really hard to determine the genuineness of a person, whether they're being actually real with you if you're not looking them face to face, eye to eye. Something is lost through words on a screen. Just like why people don't like sending emails, because things can be taken out of context. Meanings can be lost. So it's hard reading those words to be like, I believe him. I believe he's genuinely sorry for what happened, and not, I believe he's genuinely sorry that there was backlash to what he said. It's like when somebody gets in trouble and they have to apologize and they say, I'm sorry that person felt some way about what I said. They're not actually apologizing for what happened, for what they said. They're apologizing that you took it that way, that it made you feel some type of way. And is that really apologizing for anything? Are you even recognizing the issue? But again, from my standpoint, I don't think he's racist, and I do believe that the apology that came forth was genuine, based off of, I have nothing to discredit that idea. Everybody deserves a chance to, 1, be forgiven, 2, to make a mistake, and 3, to be placed in a place where they can be judged. I'm not even sure the words I'm trying to say here. But basically, you are allowed room for error, which I believe as we're moving forward, that room is getting smaller and smaller. As I mentioned in the prior video, in the first chapter, I've lost people that I considered friends, because that margin of error of letting people kind of wiggle and teeter-totter, it's closing. Too many people have died for us to still play this game of, well, I'm going to let this one pass because usually you're a good guy, or I believe you're a good guy. No, what you show me is what I'm going to believe, and I'm going to take it. I'm not going to keep taking this, and I'm sure a lot of people are not going to keep taking this backtracking shit. Because the backtrack, it's not your honesty. That's not real. That's you trying to cover your ass. Which speaks to this whole bigger idea of how many people are genuine in what they're saying right now. Because as I said before, I don't believe he's a racist, but I do believe he was honest in what he said. And there's something to that, because everybody's entitled to their opinion. But if that's the case, how many people that are standing up right now are honest in that? Is it just a moment? Is it just something to... It's so easy right now to become a headline. If you want to increase your PR, if you want to increase your viewership or your audience or just your standing in life, right now would be a time to jump onto a hashtag or a trend, to go out and say something, and then boom, you're all over the place. So-and-so says that they stand with blah, blah, blah. So-and-so posted on Twitter, fist, fist, fist. How many of those people actually believe it? I like to believe that majority of them do. I like to believe that the majority of people who are posting this right now truly see the issues that are going on in this world. And from the outcries, I'm not talking about the people in the streets. I'm talking about celebrities. I'm talking about people of positions of power that we've never before seen speak on these issues, that are suddenly speaking. I'm hoping that is because they're actually seeing something is wrong and something needs to be done. And it's not because, well, if I want to make maintain my name and also gain some status, I need to jump on this hashtag. And like I said, why I believe Brees is speaking from honesty, right? Why I believe Brees is speaking from honesty right now, because damn it, this is not the time to say something negative about the movement. Not the damn time. So what you're saying, if you're a person saying something negative, you better mean that shit. And chances are you do mean that shit. Because people are on your ass. I want to end this on 2 notes. The first one is, at the end of the day, the majority of us, me, don't know Mr. Drew Brees. I've said what I said. I still stand by I don't believe he's a racist. I still stand by I believe his apology was authentic. And we can really only take note from his teammates that are black, that are coming out and standing in support of Brees and his apology.
What I can say is Drew showed the ultimate move of a leader. He owned his mistake. He owned his mistake, and he moved the conversation back to the issue, which he should have spoke on the first time. That's the essence of a leader, and I think that's a model for all of America, especially that's America that's not of color. But
I'm seeing Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan writing basically that apologizing is a true form of leadership. I can't deny that. People make mistakes. I'm seeing Michael Thomas coming out and saying, my QB, flex emoji. The black people in his locker room are standing up for Brees after the apology came out, because many of them came out and denounced what he said, and it seemed like there was going to be some tension there. But because he came out, and I'm sure we spoke with them on the phone, and they know this man, we can only take our stance from his teammates that are black. Because I don't believe a person like Michael Thomas is going to stand for the bullshit if he actually believed that it was a disingenuine post apology that Drew Brees released. So if we're rolling with what the teammates are saying, as I stated in the beginning, I don't think Drew Brees is a racist. I think what he said was a mistake. I think he was misinformed. Yeah, we'll go with that. I think he was misinformed. And I think that he truly has had his eyes opened by whoever to the problems that Kaepernick was trying to address in a kneeling position. I also love that President Trump tried to show support of Brees' initial interview, the one we're seeing here. And after issuing the apology, Brees doubled down on his statement and issued what seemed to be a counter post towards Trump, letting him know, paraphrasing, that it is important for white people to take an interest, listen, and become educated with the plight of our African American communities. I also want to bring up, because I didn't say it in my last video in the chapter 1, happy birthday, Breonna Taylor, who was my age, was born in my year. And I want to bring up another individual who I did not become aware of until my little brother told me about his case. And it's something that I want to explore in another chapter, because it's not something that I can even begin to completely talk about and try and understand myself at the ending of a video. That individual is Kendrick Johnson. For those who may have heard, that's the 17-year-old in Georgia who was found rolled up in a mat that apparently, who we've been told committed suicide. Rolled up in a mat. Again, I don't want to get into it, but I would suggest that if you have the time, one, show your support in trying to get that case reopened, because what the hell happened there is so disgusting and so blatantly a cover-up of fucking murder on the most highest levels that there are. It sickens me, which is why we need a whole chapter dedicated to it. But please look into the possibility of reopening this case and look into his case so you can see for yourself what the hell so many of us seem to have missed. Again, that name is Kendrick Johnson. Thank you all for listening on My Two Thoughts. As I said before, it is an open discussion. As long as you don't say no racist shit or anything that even seems to be tinged towards supporting stupidity, please leave those comments below so that I can read them and I can continue to do my research if you have something you suggest I should read or learn up about. I will talk to you all in the next chapter.